Welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 174. Today is August 26th. I'm Mox Born Again. I have with me ItsMyAngel.
Hello.
Hello. How's your day going?
It's going.
It's going again? Like take two type of thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we're here to talk about games, but this week we are going to talk more about TV. And one of our favorite TV series had a spin-off premiere this past weekend, and I think we're going to dive into that a little bit and see what we think. Talk about where we want it to go. Talk about what we found out from the preview, and we'll talk about Talking Dead as well, which is something that's kind of related. We're also going to talk about the list of on Kotaku put out a pretty good list of games that are coming out between now and Christmas. And we're just going to kind of pick through them and see what our top games that we're going to be looking forward to and what we're, most excited about. And, I think it will be an interesting conversation, to say the least, just by looking over the list. So, anyway, we got the camera up high now, which is exciting. So it's not like, right in our faces. We kind of got a good angle going on. So, not too shabby.
Okay.
So, the only thing that I've been playing, it's kind of been a rough week as far as playing games goes, just because of we've had a couple showings on the house and trying to keep up and all that stuff.
We were out of town this weekend.
Out of town this weekend. But the only game that I was able to play this week was Ninja Turtles Remastered on the 360 with Eli, and it reminded me how much fun that game was. I wish we had the original, which I think we do. We just don't have it downloaded. But the remastered, like, new graphics, they're kind of neat. I mean, it's it's the same game, quote unquote, but it's just fresher graphics and all that stuff. But that's all I've been playing. Have you gotten into any?
I haven't played a single thing.
Why don't you talk about Fallout, the Fallout app that you had for a while?
Oh, I kind of stopped playing it. Fallout came out with I don't even know what you call it. It's like a resource management type game, I guess, where you are. Whoops.
Oh, nice.
Sorry. Resource management game on I think it was just for iOS. That was, it was fun. You got to put your vault dwellers, see what their stats were, put them in rooms like that generate water, electricity, food, etc., based on their strengths, to try to make everybody happy. Breed your vault dwellers basically by putting them into the habitat rooms, residential rooms. They would breed, have babies, which would then grow up. Nice. Then, so it was fun. I work all day. I don't have time to continually be looking at my phone, and things, your resources get used up even while you're not playing it. And I need to take this call real quick. So, okay. Yeah, my people were habitually just continuously unhappy.
I don't know. I was excited for it. I kind of was hoping that they would bring out a version for the Android devices, but that has yet to been released. I know they've been mentioning that they're working on it and that there will be one, but I look forward to playing it because it looked like a lot of fun. Maybe next week we can get Magic Vice to talk about it a little bit on Mana Drained, because he's been plugging away at it. But, the way she mentioned, it continually uses your resources while you're gone. It might be an issue because those of us that work that can't access our phones while we're at work, that might make it a little difficult to enjoy. But back to the Ninja Turtle game. It's definitely worth it if you haven't checked it out. We only downloaded the demo. If you have a 360, definitely check it out. You get quite a bit of the game. I think we played through like 9 or 10 levels, which kind of makes me wonder how many levels are in the actual game itself. But yeah, it's definitely something to check out if you've got a 360 laying around. You want to, beat up on some old school Ninja Turtle bad guys. It's definitely worth a check. So yeah, let's we'll switch gears here, and we'll talk about our Kotaku list here. So Kotaku put out a list today. I believe it was today. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was today. Every big video game coming out this fall. So it's definitely something if you're interested, if you're looking for something to play, or if you're looking for like, hey, what's coming out soon? What can I save for? Blah blah blah. There's a ton of good games on here, and there's just about something for everybody. If you didn't, the one thing down here that I would like to play, I'll probably end up renting it or borrowing it from a friend, is Metal Gear Solid 5. This looks a lot of fun. I downloaded the Ground Zeroes game when it was on Games for Gold last month. I haven't had a chance to play it, but I'm looking forward to playing it. Those games have always interested me, just on the fact that they're so well loved, and they're one of those series that if you don't follow along, you can get completely lost. And this is kind of something that I wanted to talk to Amanda about, but she's had to take a phone call right this second. So, but one thing that I wanted to talk about was the type of world that we live in nowadays with video games. Is it's very handholdy when we're talking from release to release. Oh, and she's coming back, so I'll hold my thought until she gets back. Everything good?
Yeah, Mom just had to tell me an anecdote about something Eli did and said.
Great. Would you like to share it on the air, or would you like to keep
probably,
everybody guessing?
He probably would not like it to be shared on the air if he heard it when he was grown.
Oh, that would be great. Spoilers.
Questions about body parts and things of that nature.
No, he's just exploring. Let him go. Let him be a man. So I was talking. I kind of skipped around because I know you wanted to talk about Fear of the Walking Dead. So I switched. We're going right into the list here.
Okay.
And the one game that I was talking about that I want to kind of go into a conversation a little bit with you is Metal Gear Solid 5. Now, we talked about before we went on the air about how handholdy like our games are nowadays, where everything is started and finished most of the time in one game. There's very few aspects that cross from one game to the next game, like series wise. I mean, you'll have some things, but everything seems to come to a close, like from a plot standpoint, from the beginning to an end. Like you look at the Uncharted series, you look at Halo. I'm trying to think of what.
But it definitely helps to know what's going on in each game.
Right. I mean, it gives you a benefit. But
I think all the Halo, like 1, 2, and 3, like all end on cliffhangers.
Right. In some way, but I don't think they actually come back and actually pay off anything. Like there's no overarching story. Like
Halo
I think that
definitely has an overarching story.
Well, but I'm talking about that influence the game, like game decisions. Like Halo is very linear in the fact that you can't really choose to do anything. Like you can't.
I guess I'm not understanding.
So I'm kind of thinking about when will we eventually get to the point where the decisions that I make in release 1 affect me in release 2.
So you're talking about like in RPGs?
Yeah, kind of like an RPG. I mean, they could even be in like in Destiny or whatever. Like if or
You
like
don't make decisions in those games.
right, but I'm saying if you had a choice in the opening levels of game X to save person A or save person B, but one way or the other, one of them was going to die. And depending on what you picked, that would affect not only that whole game, but it would also affect the game going the second release. So I was just trying to think. When do we get to that point in storytelling? We got movies, like overarching movies that have that type of storytelling, like with the Hobbit story and stuff like that, where some of the things that they decide to do in the first series kind of bites them in the ass when it comes to the last movie.
I feel like that all kind of is
I think
Drake,
so.
and yeah, I think all these games have a greater story and are all part like chapter 1, 2, and 3 of the story. You kind of need to have all them all together.
I don't know. I just feel like story wise,
I mean,
it's
in the
like. Would you say to play Uncharted 3? Do you have to know what happened in 1 and 2?
not necessarily, but to understand the relationships and stuff that are going on in that, because you see the blonde chick. I can't think what her name is now right now, but she's not in one of them. She comes back, and I mean, there's definitely some relationship dynamics there that if you haven't played them before, you wouldn't know. But
Yeah.
that's not those. The Drake games aren't necessarily all story either. It's him kind of going on these different adventures.
Right.
So that's not really, I don't think, a great example.
Yeah. Plus, it's your baby, so you're going to defend it till you're
Oh
dead.
my god. Okay, well, Halo is not, and I would defend that. I mean, in saying in one game they release the flood, and the next game it's like they are on Earth and they've come down. You lose Cortana. The next game you're spending all your time trying to find her and get her back. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's definitely like the entire
Well, no,
story
you lose
progression.
Cortana in the beginning of in the at the end of 4, or at the end of 4 and at the beginning of 5. You're looking for her, right? Or is that or am I
5 hasn't even come out yet.
three? Okay, no, it's 3 to 4. So yeah, so it's 3 to 4.
I don't, I
So
don't, I don't recall how they all progress,
So like
but
it ended with like a cliffhanger where it's saying, "Oh, you lost so and so," and then it picks right back up with on
and one
on
of them ended
4.
up with the cliffhanger of you're floating out in space, and
Yeah.
then the next one you're crashing onto Earth.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, they all tie together.
I guess I'm just looking for a little bit of choice, like where we have games that affect that tell stories from start to finish in game 1. Where do those choices affect game 2? Is kind of what I'm looking for. And basically driving the story further, like these huge, I'm looking for like multi-game, and that might be like a little overzealous because nowadays certain games don't games only release on so many systems. Like there will only be a finite number of Halos on Xbox One before the next Xbox comes out. So like, you know, the cross-platform playability kind of takes into effect as well. So I don't know.
I'm lost. I don't even honestly. I'm sorry. I don't really know where our conversation is
Well, I
going
was
because we
just
were talking about the list of games coming out, right?
right. So like it was talking about like Metal Gear Solid 5, and I feel like Metal Gear Solid is an extremely story-driven game where if you haven't played
I've never played any of them to know.
right, but like just based on the conversations that I hear and the stuff that the podcast that I listen to, the the Metal Gear Solid is like kind of like this stands alone kind of deal where if you haven't played 1, 2, 3, or 4, you definitely are going to be lost when it comes to 5. Let alone all the side projects like the PSP one, the Ground Zeroes, and stuff like that. It just feels like that's kind of like what's going on. I'll tell you the one thing that I would like to see if we do see this type of gameplay enacted is when a company releases a title, release like the past few games with it. So like kind of like with what like Gears of War is doing. You get the backlog of games if you pre-order the Ultimate Edition of the next Gears of War. So you get 1, 2, and 3, and then all in one package. So you can play through those. And not that Gears of War has an overarching story to tell. That's huge, hugely deep, or what I'm looking for as far as choices go from one to the next. But it would be nice to see that type of like adoption. So for those of us that haven't played, like I would feel really like I want to play Metal Gear Solid 5. I have 4. I've probably put about maybe 20 hours into 4 and just kind of got lost in the story and all that stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was. I knew who Solid Snake was because the name's familiar. So, I don't know. What games are you looking forward to?
I don't really know. Honestly, I don't play games any. I really I don't have a lot of time
So
for
let's
games.
see
I don't
here.
even know.
I'm looking forward to Mario Maker because this would be
You
a
mentioned that was the first time I've ever heard of that. You mentioned that tonight at dinner.
I would this game. I mean, the Mario Maker series or Mario Brothers series 1 through 3 is going to be pretty much what this is all about. Like you can put together like maps and stuff like that and levels and stuff. Um, let's see here. And plus, it's on the Wii U, so that's something that Eli's been not asking for, but every time we go into a GameStop, that's what he's playing. Let's see here. Animal Crossing for the 3DS.
Okay.
That I spent way too much
Me
time.
10 years ago would have been excited about that.
Yeah, I feel like Animal Crossing's kind of lived out its welcome. I don't know
I
if
mean,
people
I
are still
liked
playing.
it and it was cute and it was fun, but I don't have time. I got my own house I got to keep up with. I don't need to keep up with. It's like The Sims. I love the Sims, but I have my own relationships and houses and stuff I got to deal with. I don't have time to be pretend going to work when I really have to go to work. Like it's fun and it's cute and I like doing that kind of stuff, but at the same time I just don't have time for that anymore. At one point, like, okay,
Rock
so
Band 5 or
15
Rock
years
Band
ago, I'd have
4?
been excited for Tony Hawk.
Rock Band 4 is something that we could get down with. That's something that's I look definitely am interested in.
Right.
Price point would be a big thing for me.
Disgaea. I used to know somebody that really liked all the Disgaea games. I never was into them myself, but I've seen enough of them get played that it might be an interesting find. I don't know if you have to know the storyline behind them, but I know someone who really enjoyed
Right. I
like,
mean,
the
that's
first Disgaea. I didn't even know they're up to 5. That's kind of
right.
crazy.
And see, it's kind of what like sparks my interest. Like we're at this point in gaming where we've got Persona 4, we've got Tony Hawk. Like Tony Hawk's a bad example, but there's like sequel after sequel after sequel, and like at what point do we say like, okay, this game is not for the new person. Like this game is for the people that have been following along all the way through, and we can really dive way deep into our lore and not just like, hey, if you want to read more about this, go check out our website and read this, wall of text.
I will say Disgaea's website is very Japanesey.
It is very Japanese.
There's just stuff everywhere.
I think that's a racist comment you
well,
just made.
no, I'm just saying like when you think of like the
Culture.
it's in and it's in that it's I mean that's the art style that they use, but and even like when I saw was it the first or second Disgaea be played, none of it was in English. I mean, it was I think in Japanese with English subtitles. You may have been able to turn on English at that point. I don't really recall, but I think it looked better in Japanese, which is maybe why it was played that way. But anyway.
Another game on the Wii U is Fatal Frame, which you've watched the game be played.
Yeah, it's another game I watched get played. Scary as heck. I don't know if there have been other Fatal Frames between then and now. That was a long time ago. I think PS2's time.
Mm-hmm.
So quite a while ago. Like I said, I'm not familiar a lot with the Fatal Frame franchise to know if there have been other games, but it was basically a game in which there's some kind of ancient ritual that goes on that involves spirits and ghosts and creepy as hell things.
Don't you have like a fancy camera or something
You've
like that?
got like a camera basically that can capture these ghosts. So I think it was in that one your brother was lost. But it was walking around this spooky, dark, creepy house with a flashlight, basically
Right.
trapping ghosts with the camera. And you'd walk through a room, and then you'd see like this ghost with her head kind of sideways, like or you'd walk through and be fine. Walk through the next time, and there's all these chains hanging from the ceiling.
Right.
Just some really creepy as hell things.
It looks like there's almost been a release between this one and the one. Because what you're looking at seems to be like some higher end graphics that like there's so it kind of looks like
This is the new one.
Yeah. Oh, is this the new one?
Yeah.
That's kind of creepy looking.
Maiden of Blackwater.
Huh. I don't know. It's and it's kind of weird, and it's only coming out on the Wii U, or at least for now.
It was only I guess it was PlayStation before, wasn't it?
Right. Ooh, that's kind of neat with the camera on your
That's how it was before.
right, but that's the controller.
Oh,
That's like the
using the
Wii.
controller as the
Yeah,
camera.
that's kind
Okay.
of a neat idea. That's something that I can get behind.
Yeah,
As long as I
got
don't have to waggle anything.
a different use for it.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's. I mean,
I don't
there's
I don't know
plenty
if
of
it's one
Wii
I would
U
play
games
because
out
I
at this point that with Fatal Frame, and Mario Maker,
of course Mario Kart and Smash
Mario
Brothers.
Color, yeah, Mario Kart, Smash Brothers. I'm sure there's a Zelda game or two that we've missed. So there's plenty of games out there for the Wii U to be successful and not successful, but like for us reason to purchase it. There's 6 or 7 games that we can get behind that are probably between 30 and $60 at this point. So um let's see here. There's a new Assassin's Creed game coming out, which you like the series into like you played what the first one and a little
What
bit
game?
of the Assassin's Creed.
I never played any of them.
I could have sworn that was what you
I've
played.
tried to play, and I've never made it through
Mm.
more than like the first couple of hours.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first one, except for the point that you can't swim, and then the second one I kind of lost interest in pretty quickly. Halo 5 Guardians, which is going to be a must-own in here. I'm just sad there's no split screen. It kind of makes me angry. Call of Duty.
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 is a big one. Fallout 4 will be huge. You played Fallout 4 or Fallout 3.
3, I couldn't get behind New Vegas for whatever reason.
There's a lot of glitches in New Vegas. It wasn't really. It was kind of aggravating. It just
I think
seemed like
I think I just liked the third Fallout, and that was what I knew Fallout to be. That's the first one I've ever played, and so it came so close to. Well, at least it seemed like it came so close to when we were playing Fallout 3 that I just.
Well, Fallout 3 had a huge lineup of DLC. So like that game, like DLC didn't hit till
Could
like
last you for a while.
yeah, the DLC didn't start hitting till like 8 months after release, and then you had like there was probably about 8 packs of DLC.
You got me that Fallout 3 for a gift, didn't you? You got that for me. The lunchbox is up there. That's right.
Was
that
that-
was my game. I didn't realize
Oh.
that it was even my game.
I didn't even realize that
I
either.
forgot about that.
It's
It
a
was
good
for
game.
Christmas one year, I think.
I don't remember.
Anyway. Yeah, you did a whole theme, like apocalypse theme.
Oh yeah, that's right. That is
I
right.
don't remember what else was in that.
I don't remember either. That was a good call. That was a hell of a long time ago.
Yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. That's
Which
you
I don't-
played the last one.
I did play the last Tomb Raider game. I don't. Is this a new game? Is
Yeah,
this
it's
an
a new
extension
one.
of?
This is like
okay.
a prequel.
The last one that came out was the first one that I've ever played.
This
It
is
was
a good
fun.
one.
It was similar to like Uncharted or something along those lines. So that was fun. I see Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. How are they only on 5? They've been making Tony Hawk's Pro Skater since the PlayStation 1. But I used to love Tony Hawk 1, 2, and 3. I don't know. Since then, I really kind of on 'em,
So you
but
missed one. You missed 4.
There have been others though,
All
like
right.
Underground.
Oh yeah, Underground 2.
Yeah, there was a whole
Yeah.
bunch of different Tony Hawk.
But they went away for a while. There wasn't that many on the 360 PlayStation 3
Yeah,
generation.
but the original
The
with
PlayStation
the hangar,
was
Was
good.
it the one with the hangar? And I forget.
The airplane hangar, where if you could go outside, you could see is it an airplane or something, or a helicopter was outside or something like that? Yeah.
That whatever one that one was my favorite. Played that a lot.
I am totally pumped for Star Wars Battlefront. This game looks spectacular.
No idea what it is.
It's like this huge, like, it's kind of like if you think of Battlefield, it's by the same people that make Battlefield, like
I don't know
first
what that
person
is.
shooter, like 64 on 64 massive battles going on, like matchmaking stuff, which looks totally fun. I can get behind that. Let's see here. Star Fox is another reason I kind of want to. I don't know anything about the Star Fox game, but I feel like if I own a Nintendo system, I need to own the Star Fox version that goes with it. So As long as it has space combat, that's all I want. That's what the first one was, and that's how badass it was.
Okay.
Then you kind of get into a whole bunch of Hitman, Xenoblade,
Rainbow Six.
Six Siege. It's okay. Although I think that one got pushed back even further. I don't think that's actually being released in December.
Just Cause that's a third. I've never played it, but
It's like a huge open sandbox game with a whole bunch of stuff that you can interact with. But yeah, so there's a pretty good list of games going on. So definitely something there for everybody. But yeah, so how about we switch gears and talk about Fear the Walking Dead?
I can get a
So
little more behind that, which I would never have said that. I
yeah,
would never have thought that I would be interested in Walking Dead,
no.
considering I didn't watch it for the first 3 seasons.
So Fear the Walking Dead. If we didn't realize this, but is a mini series. They're only doing 6 episodes.
Well, it's a series.
Right.
They're considering it a series, and I guess that's not uncommon for the first season
Mm-hmm.
in miniseries to do a shorter,
Yeah,
basically to trial run it.
Jesse was telling me at work today that that's how the original Walking Dead started. Was they had only had 6 episodes in it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Which I didn't realize. So
Yeah, I guess it's not an uncommon thing. But it'll lead us pretty much up until the next season of Walking Dead starts.
right. So what did you think? So like overall,
Um,
we won't give. I mean, there's not. You can't. I mean, you
felt
can't really
like-
spoil too much because it's like the apocalypse. Like if you haven't seen it yet, you're kind of missing out.
I liked it. I think it's gonna take a lot to get you into the story. I know a lot of critics, I think, said it was kind of slow to begin with, which I kind of felt that too. Although in the first minute they had a zombie right off the bat, so they didn't leave you without one, for the entire episode. But
I think, and to that point, I feel like the people that are complaining that it's too slow is I think if they would have like ramped it up like where we left off with the last episode of the regular Walking Dead,
you have nowhere to go.
you would have nowhere to go. You wouldn't. There isn't this like rhythm of ups and downs, and you wouldn't. There'd be so much chaos that it'd just be like, oh, this is just more of the same Walking
well,
Dead.
and they're trying to set the scene for how things
Progress.
like where
yeah.
things where shit to hit the fan, basically. So they have to see what life is currently like. So what is going on, what are these everyday people, what are they doing? It's hard to get invested in new characters when you're so, oh my gosh, Walking Dead is all about Daryl, and which is what everyone is.
Well, this one doesn't have Daryl in it, so it's going to be a failure.
Right. You can't look at it that way. I think you have to look at it as being its own series, which it is. You can't go comparing it to Walking Dead. I think it's going to be an interesting stuff. You can tell stuff's going to start progressing faster and faster.
Right.
Obviously, there were no zombies. Then all of a sudden, this patient zero, Gloria, shows up. She clearly gets out of the church. The kid runs out. She gets out. If you think about the fact that it takes a little while for zombies to reanimate, how long is she out there creating new zombies? You also kind of have to wonder why are all of a sudden people who are dying? Because, as we know from the original Walking Dead, anyone who dies in any fashion is turning into a zombie.
Right.
What sparks that? That hasn't been explained
In the original series or this one.
Right? We know that if you're talking about people who are being bitten. Sorry, I was reading in the chat room and lost my train of thought. I can't do 2 things at once. I was talking with some of the girls on my message boards about it, and they said that it seems like people are reanimating really quickly.
Which that was the case in the original. If you were bitten,
Not necessarily, though.
well,
If you think
to
about
the
Andrea's sister,
it
it
took
took her
her.
forever.
Yeah, that's true.
The guy that they left by the side of the road, I can't think of what his name was right off the bat.
I don't
But
remember.
he got scratched or bitten, had a fever for days before
Right.
they finally left him by the side of the road. So, a lot of these people, it seemed to take quite a while for them to progress. But here they are carting this accident. We were talking about the scene where they showed the traffic jam, and it was the traffic cameras or the
Helicopter
helicopter
cameras.
cameras showing from top down. There had been an accident of some sort. They were taking the guy on the stretcher, and then he reanimated.
Right.
So, did he just die that quickly and just
Just
instantly
reanimate.
reanimate?
Yeah, because if he's on the stretcher and not in a body bag, then obviously he literally just died on the stretcher. Because you wouldn't put a
Right.
dead person on a stretcher; you would put them in a body bag.
Right. So, trying to figure out what exactly is going on. What's the timeline? You know, was this guy already a zombie when they tied him down onto the stretcher? It's kind of confusing. I don't know if I kind of really need to go back and watch that segment again. But I think it's too hard to determine if there's loopholes, like things that they're kind of forgetting about, or what's really going on.
And
Just
I enjoyed the character selection that they have. You've got two families that are coming together, plus the father has a son that's somewhere else in the world. So I could really see that relationship being a integral part to the story, as far as trying to reconnect with him, kind of like how in some cases, kind of like what Rick did with Carl and what's his wife's name, Lori. In like the first two episodes where he's complete. Is it the first? I think is it the first episode he finds? No, I think it's the 2 episode gap where Rick is still looking for his family. But this could be they could make this into something so much bigger and actually play that out. Like this would give him a reason to go to his son and find him. I don't know where they're at location wise or how far apart they are, but
I think
I think the character selection is pretty cool.
I think the drug addict son, he reminds me so much of a young Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
His body, his
Body structure,
yeah, his face, the hair,
even his
just
acting.
kind of the vacant. Not I don't want to say vacant expression but just that kind of.
Blank.
Well, yeah, but I think Johnny Depp played some characters like that too that were a little out there,
Right.
just a little not
High.
quite right, right, just kind of. I don't know if it's the character that reminds me of Johnny Depp. Just everything from his expressions to how he moves, how he carries himself reminds me very much of a young Johnny Depp,
Right.
which could be a good thing. I mean, I don't know.
I've never seen the actor before, but I enjoyed it. He did a really good job. The whole cast really did. I mean, there really wasn't too much.
Where you're like, oh my god, this is going to be a terrible actor.
Right, exactly. There wasn't like, oh well, that just ruined this series for me. No, it honestly felt like, I don't want to say more of the same. It felt like a Walking Dead episode, but from another perspective. Like this is what episode the first 20 minutes of episode 1 in the original Walking Dead. This is what the series is going to be like. Where this is us living, and this is okay. Shit kind of hit the fan. Now what do we? They're just finding out. And the one bullet hole in this whole plot is, does nobody play like Left 4 Dead or any zombie games out there, like in this world? Like, hey, you know what, that looks like a zombie, maybe we should shoot it in the head. oh no, let's just go ahead and run it over with the car and then run it over again. Like, no, you need to shoot it in the head. I don't know. And they did talk about that in Talking Dead though, where the audience knows more than the characters do. So I guess that's kind of going to be a reoccurring theme where we're going to be like, why aren't you doing this? Come on, they've been
Well,
doing this for 6 episodes or 6 seasons now.
right, and that's, I mean, this Walking Dead is the same way. They never knew what a zombie. You know, they've got 15 different words for it, but they never uttered the word zombie.
That is true.
And that's something that
Walker,
I think they
Walking
brought up on there
Dead.
too.
What are some of the other ones? Walkers. I don't remember. But there was probably about a good three.
Rotters.
Rotters. Yeah,
Something like
there's probably like 3 or 4 different
that.
names.
The Termites had a different term for it.
Terminites. And they're dead.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, they were horrible.
I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it. More so, like if I can compare it to another series, I like it more than Better Call Saul. So like the relationship that Better Call Saul had with Breaking Bad, I like this relationship with the series. I hope this continues on. I'm sad that it's not going to get its own Talking Dead. Like
It may. I mean, not this year, but maybe next year.
It really
Hopefully.
needs it.
It did have, I think, one of the largest. I was reading the other day, the largest TV audiences for a premiere. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, premiere.
That they ever had, like ever. It was record breaking already on its first episode. I think with 10 point something million viewers. So it's off to a good start. It'll be interesting to see if it keeps up momentum, though.
I hope so. It's one of those series where I haven't read the comics, and I know I can go get the comics if I want more content. But just being able to sit down and watch it, and I think that's what I really enjoy about Talking Dead is you get kind of the behind the scenes look of how they do things and how the show advances, not just from like storytelling but also from like their techniques and like creating zombies and explosions and set preparation and stuff like that. You just get like that whole like everything wrapped up into one. So
Here we go. Yes, Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead became the number one rated cable series launch with a record 10.1 million viewers, including 6.3 million adults in the 18 to 49 category. So it.
I wonder how they get that information.
I don't know, but both number adults and total viewers, Sunday's premiere outrated all 22 episodes from the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead.
Well, that's because it's got an established base already. What will be very telling is what episode 2 does. Because if episode 2 doesn't do half of that, then we know that it was a stinker. Or I guess not a stinker, but in the eyes of the public, it wasn't a success. So, yeah. I mean, we didn't start watching Walking Dead till what, like season 3? Yeah, we were pretty late to the party on that one.
Apparently, they did hand. They've ordered already 2 seasons of Fear the Walking Dead, so it's guaranteed to come back for 2016.
Okay, that's exciting. I'm glad it's coming back. We need a Talking Dead for it, though. Absolutely. All right. Anything else you want to talk about? Do you want to see the 2 collide? Do you want to see if like there's any crossover? I don't know how you would keep this.
I would in a way, but I think it would gonna maybe just be too forced and cheesy.
But okay, how about this? So like
I think if it was a random person like that we don't see a whole lot, like they were in the hospital. If that doctor happened to be the doctor that was like with Beth in that hospital, like
that would be kind of
very
neat.
Minute little characters here and there that somehow managed to cross the country.
Yeah, that's true. They are
during
kind of
the apocalypse.
Well, what if it was like kind of if you take like Carol and like they banish Carol from the one group,
I
and
just don't know how
Carol,
she's going to cross the country. I mean,
yeah,
if you think about the fact that
you're on foot.
the people we've watched so far have just made it out of Georgia. I mean, they finally
Yeah, that's true.
after how many how
They're not
long have made it out of Georgia?
Yeah, they're not going to
Like,
hop on a plane and get all the way over to L.A.
right.
or wherever this one is.
Unless it's a military person that was on one of those but because they are outside of DC, so
you got a lot of people coming and going, and
right. I mean, they're right out of DC,
right.
So I mean,
I don't know. I guess it's. I don't think it would.
It could be a little forced.
Yeah,
and
that does sound kind of bad. Bad idea. Never mind. I thought it could be cool, but it's a terrible idea. Anyway, you have anything else you want to talk about?
In regards to Fear the Walking Dead?
Or anything?
I don't think I do.
I got a Magic tournament this weekend. Yes. Going to play some Mono Blue. Make people angry.
You always make me angry.
I made some dude at Friday Night Magic angry last weekend. He only had 4 cards, and I know they're not talking video games anymore. He had 4 cards to win the game.
Didn't you already have your Magic podcast?
I know.
Okay.
But I like talking about it. Okay, we'll talk more. We'll talk
Save
more.
it for your other podcast.
We'll talk more
You like
Magic
to
the
talk.
Gathering next week. Episode 2. Episode 1 was really good. It turned out really well. So we're going to do another one. Episode 2. Next Tuesday, September 1st at 8 p.m. is Mana Drain. That's when we talk Magic Vice and I. We'll talk all about Magic the Gathering. We'll nerd out about our tournament that we're going to in Columbus. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys want to watch us live, you can visit twitch.tv/BC Podcast. If you want to check out our most recent episodes, you can head over to our YouTube page at youtube.com/72DPI online. We'll be back next Wednesday, roughly at 8 p.m. I know we say 8 p.m., but it's usually a little bit later. We're kind of making this thing where, because Eli is with Grandma on Wednesdays, or with Nana on Wednesdays, so we take that opportunity to go adventuring to a different place to eat. What did we ate at Christopher's tonight?
Along with all the 55
Yeah,
plus crowd.
it was like 55 plus. And like I mentioned something going into the restaurant, but you confirmed it when on the menu it says late night
It was after 5 p.m.
after 5 p.m. specials. I'm like, really? Like, come on.
Well, and the other dude that was there, who was our waiter, who seemed young enough, but he had lots of gray hairs, mentioned the fact that you don't have gray hairs.
Yeah, I think he was a little special.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Talk about more games, and we'll talk about Walking Dead, or not Walking Dead, Fear the Walking. The next episode, we'll probably dive a little bit more into the story and stuff like that. But yeah, I want to play some. I'm gonna try and get some of the Ground Zero in Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero. That was a free game for Xbox 360 this past month, so I'm gonna try, or Xbox One. I'm gonna try and get some of that in this week. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll be back next Wednesday.
Bye.